It's midday. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the news here on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studio at Adesawe Kanda here in Accra. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the TuneIn app from the Google Play, Apple iOS Store, and listen to us on the go. Coming up this afternoon, Democracy Hub protesters begin march towards Jubilee House in defiance of police's notice to the general public not to join any protest headed towards the seat of government. We're live there shortly for details as celebrities join day 2 of what is expected to be a 3-day protest picketing at the Jubilee House. Also, at the Electoral Commission, another pressure group, Justice for Ghana, is seeking to picket over the ongoing limited registration exercise. We'll get details from there as well pretty shortly. And in the Upper East region, police mount search for gunmen who attacked travelers there, killing 9 and injuring others. A lot more of these stories if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well. 3FM 927. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. We'll begin this afternoon's bulletin from here. And sounds of protesters were part of Democracy Hub just a short while ago before they left the area. The 37 Trotro station were forced to move to the Lands Commission area and are now headed towards the seat of government in defiance of the police's notice to have the general populace not be a part of the protest today, following arrests which were made yesterday. Up to 49 individuals were picked up from various destination spots yesterday in relation to this particular protest. Well, they have masked up today in their numbers as well, with the protest expected to go ahead as we've been telling you about. And we'll take you there shortly and get details for you. But one of the said individuals who was at the center of it all yesterday was Oliver Bakavomo, and he, together with the 48 others, were picked up by the police only to be released very late into the night, as the expectation the long while we were there was that they were to be arraigned today. He spoke to journalists when he joined them at the 37 Trotro station a short while ago as to their gadgets still being seized.
Well, we're completely manhandled, we were brutalized, a lot of us were beat up. Even when we were taken to the police, the regional command, we were locked up in a room, and about 17 individuals were playing pro. A lot of them wearing earrings with all kinds of dye in their hair, claiming to be intelligence services, were unleashed upon us and beating us in the room. Several of the women who were in there were severely injured, and I'm hoping I still have not been able to receive any news of anybody because of our devices are still being seized and are still being held by the police. So communicating has been difficult with people. But we're waiting after all of this to take stock and determine what the next course of action is.
You do not have your phones with you?
We do not have our devices, we don't have our phones, we don't have our keys. Yesterday I couldn't sleep home because I don't even have my keys to my home. So yeah, there's so many other things that have been taken from us that have not been released onto us yet.
And details there of Oliver Bakavomo speaking to this. Noble Crosbyan has joined us on the telephone line. He is with the protesters this afternoon. Let's get details from him. Was talking about a human wall being formed by the police headed towards the Jubilee House. Crosby, what can you report?
Right, Eric Mawuena Egbeta, thanks for having me. So the protest, which began right about 7 when some few members of the group began slowly converging around the 37 lorry station. The movement of the entire protesters that happened just about 10 minutes ago, if you like. So after they converged them, they began moving after a lot of something to whip up energy for the journey ahead. Now, the group set off from the 37 lorry station towards the Jubilee House. And if you know around 37 very well, you know that if you're coming from the Land Commission, opposite the Land Commission area, if you take the third exit, you're getting towards the 37 military hospital. So, as the protesters made their way around the 37 military hospital, then we saw some fully clothed police officers wearing helmets and holding their batons, with some having cameras on their gear, lining up in front of the 37 military hospital, just right in front of the military hospital. That was when this was happening. So they lined up and formed a human barricade. Roughly, I am able to count close to 30 police officers fully geared for crowd control and riot control, just right in front of the 37 military hospital. At the moment, what has been added to the human wall, Eric, is some metal barricades. So now the police is behind the metal barricade. And for the protesters, when they got to just a few meters to where the police officers were, they decided to sit right on the floor. And the lead, Oliver Barker from our spoke to the protesters, urging them to remain calm, that nothing untoward is happening. If the police service decides not to allow them to protest freely towards the Jubilee House, they will take peace right in the middle of the road, and we're making arrangements for food, for water, and for a lot of things that will make the protesters comfortable. So at the moment, this is what is happening, Eric Mawuena Egbeta.
Right then, Crosby, many thanks for those details, Noble Crosby, and we'll be going back to him again shortly as to exactly what it is that's happening there. But I must mention that musicians and some celebrities have joined this afternoon's protest. One of such is EL, a musician. He's been speaking to journalists as well in relation to the reasoning why he decided to be a part of this afternoon's exercise.
They are telling us that they don't allow us. They don't want to allow us to gather here. They want us to go outside of the perimeter of the gathering grounds to conduct interviews. But we have a right to gather. We have a right to voice our concerns. So that's what I'm here to do, basically. I'm of the view. I've been of the view for the longest time that the Ghanaian is not absolutely free. We are fed up. We are tired of all these things that are going on in our economy. The government, the mismanagement, funds are just being mismanaged anyhow. So I'm here just to voice my concern and to show my solidarity and to stand with my brothers and sisters. I'm here a little early, but I'm hoping that more people come together around instead of us staying on social media, online, in our rooms. Let us gather in our numbers to make sure that something really happens.
You have supporters joining you?
I hope so. I've made a few, contacts with my friends and my small community, so I hope that they'll be joining me soon. But I happen to live very close by here, so I thought it would be a good thing just to trek over here and then try and, see what we can do to make sure that this demonstration, this gathering is actually impactful in the long run. Yeah.
That's musician EL there. Let's get on the telephone lines now and speak to security analyst Adib Sani as to the actions which were seen today, the police's response today as well to the group gathering. The indication we get from my colleague Noble Crosby is that they have formed a human shield of some sort, barricading the road and preventing the protesters from marching on towards the Jubilee House. Mr. Adib Sani, many thanks. Just a position of what we're seeing or being told now at what happened yesterday. Would you say the police has revised their protocols in dealing with these protesters?
It's because their attempts to stop the protest has backfired. They would be left with no option but to allow it to happen. The police behaved like the Gestapo yesterday. The wanton display of lawlessness and hooliganism by the police is something that I found so shocking. And for one thinking whether this is Ghana or North Korea, the police has no right to stop a peaceful demonstration. The police is not the court. Even if an injunction has been served, the police has to go back to the court for for the court to determine whether there is a contempt or not. But yesterday, we saw people getting harassed, people getting assaulted, including Bridget Otu. Even the international media was there. Thomas Nadi, BBC, was also arrested. And it's sad and shocking. And it almost looks like there is a deliberate, conscious attempt to stop protests from happening from now until the December post. And that is dangerous for our security. Me, I'm a security person. I've done a lot of research. I know how it starts and how it ends. I pray we have a peaceful country. But these dictatorial tendencies is very dangerous, and we need to be very careful, because if I'm hungry and I'm able to speak, at least it reduces the frustration. But if I'm hungry and you prevent me from speaking, then you are in for trouble. Yesterday, someone was telling me, oh, Ghanaians are peace-loving people, Ghanaians are fearless. I was like, you would have to rethink, because when you push the wrong button and push them to the wall, you might see your neighbor or even your brother and wonder whether really he is the one. So we need to be careful, very careful, and let the people demonstrate. The economic realities is very harsh. People are suffering. There's a lot of poverty in the system. For some people, when they wake up in the morning, all that they care about is how to afford a meal for the day. Yet, you are gagging freedom of expression, freedom of assembly. The Public Order Act is very emphatic about it. What is going on in this country? Why can't people complain about their economic situation, the suffering they are going through? And you know, if they had allowed them to go on that procession or protest yesterday, it wouldn't have caught fire like when they prevented them. Because now it's international news, by the way. DW, BBC, Al Jazeera, everybody is reporting it because of what has happened. So we really need to be very careful in this country,
Right.
And let the people, and respect the people.
With regards the police's approach, we've seen a statement earlier. The initial information we got was that they were to be arraigned today, but they were released subsequently. The indication is that the Inspector General of Police has been seeking to get audience with the leadership of the Democracy Hub. What would you make of this new approach now, seeking audience with the demonstrators again to try and prevent what was seen yesterday?
I think it's okay. But it's the demonstrators or protesters. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
The protesters reserve the right to see the IGP or not. Under the law, when you request to go on a demonstration, you are not requesting. Sorry, you are informing the police. Okay. And if for any reason the police says, okay, we advise that it doesn't come on, it is your right to reject it or to accept it. But you would have to write back to the police to tell them, hey, thank you for the advice, but I reject it. And the police has no right to stop you, so far as it is peaceful. So they reserve the right to meet the IGP or not. But
right.
It's rather interesting why this didn't happen yesterday, but it's happening today.
Right.
Look, people power is absolute power.
Right then. Ms. Adi, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, sir. You were just rounding up your submission as to why it shouldn't have happened yesterday. Just briefly.
Rather, I'm saying the meeting with the protest leaders should have happened yesterday or before yesterday, so they can agree on certain modalities. But from day one, there was a deliberate attempt to stop it, come what may. Like, we are not going to countenance it. But what I'm advising is, people power is absolute power. If the people say no, it's no. If the people say yes, it's yes. That's all I can say.
Mr. Sani, I appreciate that you could speak to us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Security analyst Adib Sani with his thoughts on the development.
One of the
we'll take you back to the protest ground where my colleague Noble Crosby Annan is providing a bit more details there. Let's go live there now.
Yes, please. I'm really angry. In depth, in leg problem. I came here with 2 legs, but probably I will leave here with 1 leg. Yeah, we are very angry, brother. We are very, very, very angry. Bro.
You had intentions of walking towards the Jubilee House. You've been stopped halfway, and you've had to sit on the floor. What do you make of that?
We will sit here. We are not here to fight them. We are not fighting anyone. We don't have stones. We don't have guns. We are protesting peacefully. Or they thought we are going to the Jubilee House to steal some documents. Or to steal $1 million like Cecilia. Oh, no, we are not stealing money. We are here protesting peacefully. We are exercising our rights. We need good roads. Brother, I stay at Spinters.
Right.
You have passed the motorway before, right? You passed there. I almost died for the motorway because one driver didn't know that there was a pothole there. It's not a pothole, manhole. But the driver didn't know.
So clearly, these are some of the frustrations that is motivating these people to join the protest. Let's speak with a few more of them and find out how long they are willing to sit in the middle of the road to register their displeasure about how things are being run in the country. Let me speak with you. Welcome to Midday Live. How long are you willing to be in the middle of the road for this protest?
All we need is just give us way so that we go to the Jubilee House and ask questions on how this country, they are ruling this country. Because all we know, the motorway is spot, accident here and there. Coming here, I nearly got an accident. And you know, everything is messed up. Even finding job is difficult in this country. Right. You go and find job and you get 300 cedis a month. You are not paying water bill, you are not paying prepaid, you are not renting inside it. Why? We are tired. They should let us go.
All right, thank you so much. So that was another protester speaking with us there. Clearly very angry at how things are being run in the country. Let's speak with a few more of them on how the protest is going for them. If clearly this is not what they plan to achieve. Hello, thank you for speaking with us. You're live on Midday Live on TV3. This protest, you had to sit in the middle of the road. Clearly that was not your intention. What is making you still go ahead with it?
We have a message, right? It's a peaceful one. We didn't come here with weapons. All we came here with our placards. You can see us, like nobody's holding a knife out here. The country is difficult. Things are hard. Times are hard. The economy is facing a downturn, and it looks like it keeps dipping. All we're here for, what we're fighting for, is like a better Ghana, literally. This is as peaceful as it gets. So, like, it's kind of confusing. So we're sitting here, we're waiting.
Thank you. So, some frustrated. We'll get back to you briefly for some comments. So clearly, those are frustrations of some Ghanaians there, and we're still just right in front of the 37 military hospital, and if you can see, the demonstration is attracting a lot of people who are watching from various areas, with the police presence still here, the 37 military hospital. Now the numbers increased. Reinforcement has been called by the police service. The protesters are still seated here and they're deciding to still protest. But Oliver Bakafuma says he's taking the opportunity to educate the protesters on some of the rights and what the constitution of the republic is. So Evelyn and Martin, this is what is happening here at the 37 military hospital.
Noble Crosby and there with those details. The Ghana Journalists Association, meanwhile, has been condemning the arrest and maltreatment of journalists in yesterday's protest, and they've issued a really lengthy statement as to exactly what it is that they have to say. And they say that in their estimation, the police was highly unprofessional, absolutely unwarranted, and inherently repugnant to press freedom and the dignity of the affected journalists. The GJ says they are utterly disappointed in the police for lowering in the bar of professionalism by arresting and maltreating journalists who did not breach any law but rather breached their comfort of a national hallowed day, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, to discharge their cardinal duty of informing the general public about happenings in the country. And amongst many other things, they say investigations indicated that some journalists, including correspondents of foreign media organizations such as the BBC, AFP, and AP, were arrested in spite of the fact that they properly identified themselves. In other instances, some journalists were maltreated and the police seized their working equipment, leaving them traumatized in the process. In the case of a Metro TV reporter arrested at the Accra Regional Police Headquarters for taking video of happenings there, our investigations indicated that she was manhandled by some police officers. And so a statement goes on and on and on, but essentially the GJ flatly condemning the development as witnessed there yesterday. There'll be a bit more if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7, but closely linked to all of the things that have been happening. The 37 military hospital area is another pressure group, the Justice for Ghana, who this afternoon also expected to begin a protest at the offices of the Electoral Commission over the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. The group say they will be stationed at the EC's office until the Electoral Commissioner heeds to their demands. One of them, or the lead convener, Dramani Selom Jiramado, has been speaking to the media ahead of their action.
This is the gravamen, the crux of why we are here. That is, the EC shall undertake programs for the expansion of the registration of voters. F, to perform such other functions as may be prescribed by law. So the EC has just 5 roles to play. But it appears to us glaringly that the EC is grossly violating this, because the EC, per their press conference last week, they said this week, I believe Monday or so, the Electoral Commissioner said that the part of their job is to maintain the sanctity of the register. But the point is, the sanctity of the register cannot be achieved by sacrificing Article 45E, because Article 45E is a constitutional provision. It's a constitutional provision, so you cannot sacrifice that on the altar of sanctity. So if you cannot achieve sanctity by expanding the Electoral Commission, by expanding the registration process, then you are grossly being incompetent, because it will take a competent person to do this, expand the registration process as enshrined in the Constitution, and then maintain the sanctity of the registration of the register.
How long are you going to sit here?
We are going to sit here until the Electoral Commission until we attain the objective of our coming here, which is that the Electoral Commission must rescind its decision now to expand, to comply with what the Constitution says.
If she refuses, what will be on next line?
That's a bridge. When we get there, we'll cross.
That's Selom Jiramado, one of the lead conveners. Indication we get is that just one person currently is at the premises of the Electoral Commission, and as and when there's a bit more from there as well, we'll provide those details for you. But you're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM 927. And away from this, and a former Auditor General, Daniel Yadomelevo, says corruption has become a deadly disease that has been allowed to fester in all facets of the Ghanaian society. According to him, those expected to fight against corruption are often the worst corrupt practitioners. Domelevo was speaking at an anti-corruption day forum organized by the Asogli State to mark the 20th anniversary of the installment of Togbiapeda the 14th in Ho.
About corruption, but let me say that it is the deadliest disease that has ever visited our country. I checked yesterday and Google told me that 1.3 million people die in road accidents alone because of our bad roads. Because somebody is having the road money in his or her pockets. Because people have houses all over the world, not only in Accra, at our expense. Let me say that people don't appreciate the role that corruption plays in our society. Just go to our hospitals and you will see the poor level of service delivery and the low bed syndrome. My younger sister died 2 years ago because Kolebu could not find a bed for her for 5 days. That is the extent of corruption. is eating us as a people, and we are looking on as if we are fearless. When I saw the Asafo group, I said, we have all these guys. Let's fight. We are not angry enough. At independence, Ghana was started as ahead of Singapore and Malaysia, etc. Go there and now and see. You will regret it as a Ghanaian. This dismal performance are celebrated by our shameless leaders. They want us to hail them for this mediocre performance. I don't think we can accept this. And want the leadership of this country. That if you push us to the wall, you see the animal in us. You can't take people for granted. So enough is enough.
That's former Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelevu. Very strong words there for the leadership of the country in the fight against corruption. And we're returning to the police and one of the big stories from yesterday, because they've mounted a search for a group of armed men who attacked travelers around the Upper East region, killing 9 passengers and injuring some 9 others. The attack, which is believed to be linked to the protracted Boku chieftaincy dispute, occurred Thursday morning when heavily armed men ambushed a convoy of police personnel escorting traders from Boku to Sinkasi in Togo. The attack occurred near the Gbewa Training College on the road from Misiga to Pulmakom. The police, who are yet to make any arrests, say they're following up on leads as part of investigations, and the attack has left residents in fear. I was seeking to get to the DCE for the area just to get a bit more updates as to exactly what it is that's been happening there, and also security analysts briefly as well in relation to exactly what it is. But away from this, the Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah says parts of the Chieftaincy Act will be amended to permit traditional leaders deal with lawbreakers, aiming to restore their reverence and ensure societal development. He made the observation at a lecture by the Millennium Excellence Foundation here in Accra.
Traditional rulers are advocating for recognition in the nation's development in spite of the numerous land and chieftaincy dispute. Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah believes a review of the Chieftaincy Act can help address most challenges as the world is rapidly changing.
And the first thing was to review the Chieftaincy Act by getting the power of the Nananom to call citizens to Ahimfie. Sometimes you settle simple matters. It doesn't have to end up in the law courts. Chief Justice has set up a committee. The committee has started up a first report, and they're looking at alternative dispute resolution, sometimes mandated by the court.
One other thing that he noted was the need for a review of the 1992 Constitution. Stephen Asamoah believes the executive president is given too much power.
1992 Constitution is a confused constitution. So until 4 years, there's not much you can do. So we're giving a power to executive president. You give them power, they see the power they got, you think they should let you have some. They won't. So we need to go back to the constitution and do some reviews of it.
Traditional leaders were encouraged to actively contribute to promoting quality education in their communities.
The role of the traditional leaders is really to be in a supportive role. And we can assume that we can pass our responsibility to teachers. They have to be visible at the school sites. Their presence will mean a lot.
Our traditional leaders are extremely important. And so if they are setting the right examples, valuing education, we are likely to make progress.
And that was a News Desk report ending this afternoon's edition of the Bulletin here on 3FM 92.7. Our top story, the last 30 minutes, protesters with Democracy Hub begin to make their way to the seat of government, the Jubilee House, but they've been stopped by a police barricade and they've been forced to sit on the ground. A number of them expressing misgivings to the actions of the police. They simply are saying that they want to be given the opportunity to head towards the seat of government where they can make their grievances known. There'll be a lot more on that for you if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. Many thanks for listening. The business team, I must mention, they are ready on standby to bring us the very latest from the world of business.
Brace yourselves for another electrifying season of Ghana's most beautiful. The chosen ones prepare to embark on a transformational adventure. Our esteemed panel of judges, industry experts, and cultural icons will be present every step of the way to help these extraordinary women define their future. The stage is set for an unforgettable season filled with enchantment, passion, and the celebration of Ghanaian culture. So mark your calendars and join the live show this and every Sunday at 8 p.m. from July 16 here on TV3.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily. Coming up, Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, raises concerns over persistent difficulty in trade facilitation with paperless spot transaction. Also, Data Protection Commission set to embark on another round of enforcement to hold unregistered data controllers accountable. Plus, only 5 out of 23 banks in Ghana met customer satisfaction threshold. We'll bring you the latest CIMG 2022 customer satisfaction report. Thanks for your company. I am Bismarck Ausa. To our very first story, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has expressed worry about difficulty in trade facilitation in the country. According to the union, the paperless system introduced by government in 2017 has only solved a part of the problem. President of the union, Dr. Joseph Obin, made this known at a press conference in Accra.
When we talk about trade facilitation, we are talking about ease of doing business, time of doing business, and cost of doing business. Now, I would say that the paperless system have worked on the time of doing business. But for years of doing business, like the things that is going on, the cost of doing business have all been compromised. It means that Ghana as a nation have not achieved its target to facilitate trade. We have only been able to achieve one. That's the paperless system have been able to do that. That's the time. After the time, ease and cost is a problem for us.
And that was President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin. To some other story, only 5 out of 23 banks in Ghana have met a customer satisfaction threshold, a CIMG 2022 report has revealed. According to the report, these 5 banks scored above 98%. Despite the figure being higher than that of the previous year, the report indicated that industry players will still need to work harder to improve the narrative.
The top 5 banks were UMB, Stanbic Bank, Republic Bank, ABSA, and First Atlantic Bank. However, the bottom 3 were Bank of Africa, Societe Generale, and EcoBank. The survey was conducted among bank customers to assess customer satisfaction with respect to their ability to perform promised service accurately, individualized attention to customers, among others.
For this year, we've seen an improvement where 5 banks made the threshold, although the index went out by 3 digits, which is 98%. However, if you look at what I call traditional banking, overall, when you look at the level of service quality, it went up. As a measure, it went up. But however, we had a challenge when it came to remote banking, where I refer to as digital banking. The overall industry declined by 1%. And it's even worse when you disaggregate the data to the various banks. The performance there was quite low.
However, the 2022 results are an improvement over the previous year, where only 2 banks out of the total 23 banks met the 95% customer satisfaction threshold. President of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ehua, urged banks to take advantage of the report to improve service quality.
As an industry, we take customer satisfaction very seriously. So I'm sure our member banks will take their version of the report, go to their various banking infrastructure and digest the outcome and see the areas where improvement is needed and even where they did well to see how they can even improve it much better in the years ahead.
And that was a report read to you by Michael Obodu. Now to some other stories, stakeholders within the agribusiness space have been advised to take standardization seriously to break international trade barriers. Standards help to ensure that products are of high quality, safe and consistent. Here's more.
At the 2023 AGI Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition themed Industrialization Through Sustainable and Efficient Supply Chains, stakeholders stressed the importance of agribusiness in solving the country's growing youth unemployment.
So meaning we work also with input dealers, aggregators, and also SMEs. And in terms of trade barriers, as you said, it's market access. So market access can be done in many ways, but it's about compliance with standards and certification. And here we can provide support depending on different value chains, different needs and requirements are required, but as well also to link up and connect suppliers of those agri-produce to the marketplace.
Gilbert Achutosu, a policy researcher at the Chamber of Agribusiness, called for a policy to help young Ghanaians who want to venture into agriculture to secure litigation-free land.
A lot of young farmers want to venture into farming, but they ask themselves if they don't have access to land, probably from a family person, it is difficult for them to start. So we need to have some form of policy for land. The second issue has to do with financing. Financing is a critical issue for anybody who wants to venture into business. But in terms of farming, young people would want to have cash to purchase quality seeds.
This is still Business Daily with me, Bismarck Ausa. To some other story, the Ghana Tourism Authority has indicated that it would soon conclude processes to regulate the operations of Airbnb in the country. Chief Executive of the authority, Akwesi Ajman, stated that this had become necessary to standardize the operations of all players in the hospitality industry. Unfortunately, we are unable to bring you that report, but that will be all for Business Daily with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Thanks for your company.